I went from chronically ill and bedridden to able-bodied, healthy, and more fit than I've ever been for most of my life in less than a year. Let's talk about it. Last year, at this time, in May of 2024, I was riddled with a chronic illness that I had not been able to get a diagnosis for. And if you know the chronic illness world, the journey of many people is being thrown around between doctor to doctor, specialist to specialist, hoping and praying for a diagnosis, sometimes taking months, years, decades. I never got an official diagnosis. I knew at the time, or at least rather I thought I knew, that it was a chronic illness, and the ones in which my symptoms most commonly overlapped with were fibromyalgia and, near the end, multiple sclerosis. At this time last year, I was just finishing up having experienced the worst flare-ups of my entire life. I had two-week periods where I was bedridden, at some points could barely urinate, could barely move my head. My breasts felt like they were falling off. I had so many symptoms, like I couldn't digest my food. I needed to take different herbal supplements to get my bowels working. There were so many things I couldn't do. My hands were shaking. It literally felt like living a constant hell on earth. At one point, my vision started to blur, and I had already been feeling quite concerned. I'd been in and out of the emergency room several times, but when it really started affecting my vision, I was like, this is like such a problem. My wife and I were very lucky. She has a cousin who owns an optometry clinic, so we got to go there and I received an eye exam. She was concerned. She was like, I can't see anything. So I got referred to an ophthalmologist. That was an interesting experience going in a clinic there. Thankfully, this man that I saw referred me to receive an MRI, which is something that I had been hoping to receive as someone who had been in pain for about 3 years, chronically receiving flare-ups. So it was very relieving to finally have an MRI booked. I went, I got it done, and I want to say in about June, July of last year was when I received the phone call that changed my life. I was standing in my office at the time, and it was painted, like my wife said, like a lava lamp threw up. And I was just listening to the lady, and she told me that they found white matter on my brain in the MRI. And I remember standing in that room feeling like my life was like over. It was so weird. Like on the one hand, I felt validated because I had been so convinced and so hell-bent on the fact that something was wrong with me. So getting this confirmation from her was like, okay, I haven't been wrong, something is wrong, and I might finally get a diagnosis, and then I'll be able to get, the help that I thought was what I wanted and needed. So on the one hand, there was relief, and on the other, I felt totally and completely destroyed. I was like, I am 28 years old. What do you mean that I'm about to go see a multiple sclerosis specialist to possibly receive a diagnosis because they say that the MRI found white matter on my brain? Like, what do you mean? I remember going for a walk, and it was just the most beautiful sunny day, and I fucking bawled my eyes out, man. Like, it was like, what else do? You're just feeling really intense feelings, right? And I literally I was feeling so much. So what did I do? I was still working a job at the time, and I was very lucky. I had so much downtime. And so I would watch videos about multiple sclerosis because given the most recent flare-up symptoms and the blurring vision and now being referred to a multiple sclerosis specialist, I was like, okay, maybe this is the one. So let's start learning more about it. I'd spent a lot of time researching fibromyalgia, so I was like, let's research multiple sclerosis. I remember I was watching videos from specialists and learning about different diets and different things that you could do, and I'd already been modifying my life in many ways at this point. Throughout the years of being chronically ill, I tried veganism. I tried an animal-based diet because either, according to whatever community you're in online, says that they help reduce inflammation, and inflammation leads to the pain and the flare-ups. So I was like, okay, I'll try different diets, you know? I'd been trying many different supplements. I tried mobility aids. Like, I literally was like, okay, I'll use this cane that's available at the place that I work. I sat a lot more. I used like all these accommodations. I worked less. And I did all these things because I frankly chose to take in the rhetoric online of like, this is what will help you. I took CBD oil. There were so many different things that I did. I even did somatic therapy, not just with the intention of, you know, releasing energy built up in my physical body from childhood experiences and past life experiences, and I did it also with the intention of hopefully reducing my chronic pain. I noticed that this drive that I had had for years, where I was trying, you know, all these different diets, all these different supplements, and just different fucking methods of trying to make myself feel better, the longer that I watched these videos from MS specialists, the longer that I learned about it, I noticed I just started feeling so fucking hopeless. And looking at Reddit groups, you know, I'd already been in, I think it's called like the Fibromyalgia Warriors group on Reddit, and I had posted there when I was having my flare-ups, you know. I went on the multiple sclerosis subreddit with people who are suffering, and it was just so bleak. And you'll know if you've been on those subreddits, right? Like, it's so intense, because what you experience when you tell yourself you have a chronic illness is so fucking intense. The moment that changed every single thing for me was when I was on yet another walk by myself in the summer sun. I remember the sun beating down on me in the middle of the day, and I just cried about this like I hadn't cried really ever. I was just like at the fuck it point. I was like, fuck it. I guess I'm grieving the life that I thought that maybe I would get to have. The life where I could actually travel. The life where I could have some sort of money stability, let alone freedom. The life where I could actually do the things I want, or have the able-body that I see so many other people have that I want. In crying that day, I gave up. And until the next step happened, I didn't realize that that was the most important thing that I could possibly do. After giving up on trying to be better or feel better and just accepting, okay, well, clearly I have white matter on my brain. I'm like sick forever, and my life is going to be a fraction of what I thought it was going to be, and it's going to be shitty. Okay. I created myself being on Instagram and seeing a content creator. Her name is Sam Rossi, and she was doing I believe it was bullshit busting live stream. And so she invited people to comment in the chat their bullshit, and she would call it out in live time. Now, if I remember correctly, I did not comment any bullshit. I just observed. And frankly, I was kind of fucking blown away, like at first, in, you know, the worst way, if you want to judge it that way. I was like, who is this fucking cunt telling people there's nothing wrong with them? That one really got me. Like, it triggered me, if we want to use that language. It triggered me. I was sitting there on my couch in my used to be basement apartment, and I was doing the same thing I normally did at that point in my life. I was feeling like shit. I was experiencing some sort of chronic pain. And I was just in a shit fucking ass mood, feeling so confused as well. It was just this realization. The longer I sat watching her and the angrier I got, for whatever reason, it dissipated at some point. And because I was so fucking hopeless at that point, like, I was like, okay, yeah, my life is a shell, a sliver of what I thought it would be. And I had just accepted it. I was so at the fuck it point that when I heard her say there's nothing wrong with you, take a chance on that being true, I was like, what the fuck do I have to lose? Worst comes to worst, I'm gonna have another flare-up where I'm in bed for 2 weeks again, and I can't really move or cook or go to the bathroom or do anything, and feel like I'm just completely useless. Worst comes to worst, I'm still gonna be ill. You know, it was like literally, I was like, what do I have to lose? It's either this doesn't work and that's fine because I've tried like upteen things that haven't worked yet either, or it works and my entire life changes. And it did, like instantly. And I understand that that feels crazy to hear. Believe me, I understand that it feels crazy to hear, because whether you necessarily believe it or not, I've literally been so sick that I can't really do anything for myself. I don't share this to scam you. I share this to fucking help you. I thought I was 28 and resigned to a life where I could barely do anything but the basics. And then in less than 24 hours, I got my life back. The first few days to a week after I uncreated my chronic illness was like so incredible and liberating. I appreciated my able-bodied more than I ever fucking had. And if you want to learn how to do this for yourself, I literally wrote a book about it. It is called How to Uncreate Your Chronic Illness. I'm not sharing this just as a one-sided thing. I'm sharing this to prompt you and tell you, I used to be hopeless. I used to not take action towards my dreams. I used to be in bed all the time. I used to be in pain all the time. And if that is where you are, I fucking see you. And I love you. And it doesn't have to be that way forever. The biggest thing that I did that helped me uncreate my chronic illness almost instantly was taking a chance on acting and behaving and thinking and speaking as though there was nothing wrong with me. I felt crazy at first, obviously. I was so used to and familiar with always having something wrong with me. And so it was a bit foreign, but what was foreign and uncomfortable very soon became liberating. After only a couple of hours of doing all of these things differently, as embodying the version of me that has nothing wrong with her, I very quickly realized that by telling myself the story for so many years that there was something wrong with me, I was literally programming my body to manifest as a chronically ill vessel. If that is one thing that I can leave you with today, aside from hope that healing actually is possible and that you don't have to be bedridden, in pain, and limited for the rest of your life, it's that your body responds to the stories that you tell yourself and other people and your entire simulation about it. If you are constantly looking for things that are wrong with your body, wrong with the way that it feels and moves and exists, you will find them. And I know because I did for years. But when you take the chance on there being nothing wrong, don't be surprised when you are absolutely flabbergasted at how different your existence is.